Hey everybody, Ed here with the Digital Digest, and today I wanted to give you guys a follow-up review on the Logitech Z906 surround sound speaker system. Now this is a 5.1 channel system, THX and Dolby Digital DTS certified. As you can see, it's got a stackable receiver, unlike the Z5500, which had an upright pod that all of the inputs connected to directly in the back, a bit of an eyesore. Here, the Z906 has a single umbilical cord that runs from this unit to the subwoofer, which is where all of your inputs, both digital and non, will hook up to this 5.1 system. So as you can see, I've laid out the channels as I did in my initial impressions video, and I really just wanted to address whether or not this is a legitimate successor to the Z5500. So let's start off with audio fidelity. I have to tell you guys, despite the fact that this system has been literally shrunken down in size, and also has far less subdued styling, not as demonstrative in that metallic silver that the Z5500 had to offer, you're going to find a very similar audio quality. They are just about rated at the same wattage, a little over 500 watts each respectively, the Z5500 and the Z906. The subwoofer, though, is the one area where I have to say the Z5500 does clearly trump the 906 because it just simply has more wattage coming out of a larger sub. So if you're really worried about bass, then maybe that's what you should be looking at. I have to say, though, if you are an audiophile, you really shouldn't be looking at a surround sound system that's priced at $399.99 suggested retail to begin with. So audiophiles aside, if you plan on using this, for home theater, Dolby content, whether it's Xbox 360, PS3, or just watching cable, or your Blu-rays, I think you'll be really pleased with the audio quality that this system puts out, and it is right there with the Z5500s. Anyone who tells you otherwise, I simply believe is biased because they own the Z5500s and aren't pleased with what Logitech has brought to the table here, and I understand why. So beyond audio quality, let's talk about why people, at least from what I've heard from many users, are disappointed with this as an update to the Z5500, which was wildly popular. I think you have to understand first and foremost that the Z5500 was designed to be a 5.1 computer speaker system, targeting more so gamers than home theater enthusiasts, and it did kind of explode into a home theater enthusiast phenomenon in terms of a computer 5.1 surround sound THX system being purchased by many people who wanted to use it for their traditional home theater purposes rather than, let's say, what Logitech had principally designed these within mind, which was computer use. So I think Logitech really tried to address the fact that they needed to accommodate home theater users as well as computer enthusiasts, and that's what you see coming through on the design, which, as I mentioned before, is far more subdued. You've got black speakers now rather than metallic silver. They're smaller. The subwoofer is smaller, a little bit more of a polished finish, and also, of course, that stackable unit for receiving, which is definitely much more home theater rack friendly than an upright pod. Now, a lot of users are disappointed that we lost our LED readout from the Z5500s, and I understand why. It was always nice to be able to look at that LED readout and see, what input you were on, whether you were getting Dolby decoding, especially whether or not you had DTS, etc. But I can see why Logitech went this route in terms of giving visual cues rather than a single line readout. Obviously, it does give you, or afford you, I should say, the ability to simultaneously see the input as well as whether or not you're getting Dolby or stereo decoding. I say that because, as you can see, this visual cue here basically just shows you your layout of your 5 channels of audio. If you have Dolby 5.1 going, all of these will be lit up. If it's just stereo, then you're only going to see the left and right channel emitting light. The idea here is, at least from my logic, is that Logitech recognized that for a computer user sitting a couple of feet away from the Z5500's pod, or even 3 or 4 feet away, it wouldn't be a problem to read that LED blue illuminated LCD line that they had there. However, if you're in bed or in a living room and trying to see what that LED line is showing you, I don't care what your age is, squinting is putting it mildly. You're just simply not going to be able to see what that I don't know if it's a single or two-line LED readout is really displaying, but the point is, you're just going to have trouble seeing it. Here, you'll have a visual cue, so even if you're 10 or even 15 feet away, you'll know what type of audio you're getting from your respective input. Also, of course, simultaneously, you can see what input you're on. But on the whole, I do have to say, from a personal preference standpoint, I would have liked to have seen them put an LED readout, at least for the decoding or the input on this receiver. It could have certainly been built into this and still had an LED readout. I think a lot of users look at it as Logitech lowering their costs, but again, I see it as Logitech just having more attention to detail of trying to make this a more home theater friendly system. So it's not just exclusive to computer use, and I think that's indicated not only by the looks, the reduced size as I mentioned before, the visual indicators for inputs as well as decoding, but most importantly, as I mentioned before, the umbilical running from the receiver to the sub so that you eliminate any hordes of wires for your respective inputs. So the final point here is, folks, if you're looking for a 5.1 system at a discounted price, which by the way, ignore the $400 suggested retail. If you sign up at Logitech's site for their mailers, you will get discount coupons from them, I assure you, and you'll be able to buy this discounted well enough that it certainly becomes a very affordable system. At $400, it's tough to recommend over the Z5500s, no question. They do run about the same price in terms of suggested retail. So whether or not this system is going to suit your needs pretty much comes down to what I just told you guys. The sub on the Z5500 a little bit more powerful, but the audio fidelity between the two systems is very, very similar, a negligible difference. And if you like the design here more and are looking more for a home theater system for gaming and for watching TV, then I think this is the more attractive system. Now that being said, if you require that extra oomph, then the Z5500 is still going to be the way to go, despite its age. Again, it's really a matter of preference. I just wanted to make it clear to all of those of you out there who are wondering whether or not this is a legitimate replacement to the Z5500. In my opinion, it definitely is, as long as you get it at a discounted price. If you guys have any questions or comments, please feel free to post them. And of course, as usual, please feel free to subscribe. Later.